Hi, my name is Jenny and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am an elementary school teacher and a mom to, as of today, a 1-year-old named Alice, and I'm also a doctoral student studying early childhood education. And in this video, I am going to walk you through Alice's first birthday, which is kind of a hybrid of Korean traditions and also American traditions. So the first thing I want to mention before I get into anything with this birthday is that Alice is half Korean. My husband is Korean. So a lot of the stuff that we do for her first birthday is kind of infused with all the different Korean traditions. So I'm going to talk about some of the traditions that we actually used at her birthday and what they all mean. But it's a lot of fun. A Korean first birthday is a big deal. Historically, babies in the past did not make it to a year old, so making it to a year was a reason to really have a large celebration. So our plan initially was to rent out an event hall and have all of our family there, but obviously the year of COVID, we cannot do that. So we did a virtual birthday for her. So in Korean, it's a doljanchi, and I'm sure I'm killing the pronunciation, and I apologize in advance to all of my Korean family members. I'm trying my best. So this is a video all about Alice's dol. So the first thing you're going to notice when you see some clips of Alice's birthday is the fact that she is wearing a hanbok, which is a traditional Korean dress. So this is Alice's hanbok right here. It's so beautiful. I am obsessed with it. I really like the colors minty green and like a blush pink. So she actually was very fortunate that we have a lot of hanboks for Alice that were given to her by family members. They were all a little bit big, so we decided to just go ahead and get her one that was a 1-year adult hanbok. So we have this one for her to wear. Also, we bought an extra little tassel. Comes with it. It's super pretty. Put my hand behind so you can see it. And it just basically hooks on to where the strap goes. But this is Alice's hanbok, so it's the traditional first birthday dress. Both girls and boys wear them. This one is obviously a girl's one. The boys' one's a little different. They usually have a hat to go with it too. I'm not super crazy about the hat. I actually have Alice wearing a crown just to add in a little bit of the whole American fusion since she's half Korean, half American. Something else really important in Korean tradition as far as a first birthday goes is having deok, which is rice cakes. And there's specific kinds of rice cakes that you typically have at a first birthday. So I was fortunate that there's a place here. I live in Metro Atlanta, and there is a place that specializes in deok. So I had my husband call and ask them which ones specifically people use for the first birthday. And so you'll actually see on the table we have 3 different tiers of deok for Alice. And well, they're not for Alice. They're really for the table and for guests, which the guests are just us for this year. So there's one at the top that's white and to represent purity, and the middle one is different types of sweet deok. They're multicolored and they are to ward off evil spirits, and then the bottom one are the more traditional colorful rainbow deok. So they're all semi-sweet, but they're really not very sweet. They kind of have like just a tiny hint of sweetness to them, but they are very traditional items that you would see on a dol table for first birthday. So we absolutely wanted to include those on there. Usually you would have fresh fruit on there as well, but we just figured her table's full of stuff, so we wanted to make sure that we actually had space for everything on there. So another really big tradition as far as Korean birthdays go is called the doljabi, and they are given a bowl of items, and they're all supposed to signify a career. And I'm going to talk about these items. I'm actually going to insert a clip though of my husband explaining it. He explains it much better than me, and he's the Korean one. So here's a clip of my husband explaining the doljabi and what it looks like in Korean tradition. For those that don't
For those that
know.
already know, is what's called the Toyojabi, which is called the fortune-telling game. And basically, we're going to present in front of Alice several items that represent her future career.
Okay, so let me tell you about each of these items that are in this bowl. So I got a stethoscope, and it's a play stethoscope. Anything I got, I made a point to get that would be something that she would actually be able to play with in the future. So I got a stethoscope. It's her stethoscope. I got her toddler paintbrushes, just like this one here, because I figured this would be something useful that she could actually use in the future to actually paint with. I also got her a gavel, so here's her little gavel. It's kind of squishy like a stress ball, and I wanted to pick stuff that she would be interested in actually picking up, so I got a lot of stuff that's kind of interesting either to look at or to touch. I got her a microphone if she wants to be a K-pop star, although I'd rather her not, because I'd rather her be able to eat and not be on a strict diet and live her life how she would like to. But if she chooses to do that, I will wholeheartedly support her, and so we have an option for a microphone. Super cute VTech microphone. I got it because she can actually play with it afterwards too. Something else I put in there is a pencil. Now my husband explained it as a writer, but for me, why I put it in there is as a teacher, because obviously I am a teacher and I wanted to have something where she could follow in my footsteps if she would like to. So a pencil for a teacher. The last two things that we have here are a baseball. My husband's a big baseball fan, and he really wanted to put something sportsy in there, so he actually got a real Major League Baseball. He didn't get it. It's at the house. We have tons of baseballs. He collects baseball memorabilia. And so this was just a real Major League Baseball that was in there. The last thing that we put in there, and this is a traditional item that you put in there, is money to represent wealth. So this is basically like a, there we go. Basically just some foam money that you can kind of play with if you want to. So it's to represent wealth. The last thing I did not put in there that I probably should have that's a traditional option is also a skein of yarn to represent long life. But I was honestly a little concerned that Alice would take a piece of it and choke on it, so I just chose not to put the yarn in there. But those are all of her doljabi items, and you're gonna get to see which one she picked. As you can see, Alice picked the money. She reached for the baseball first, and I was like, oh no, she's gonna pick baseball, which is fine. I mean, I like baseball too, but I'm kind of excited that she picked the money, because the reason I'm excited she picked the money is because of the fact that there's no one career tied to it. It's just wealth. So she could do literally anything in the world and be happy with it and still achieve the wealth. So for me, I kind of feel like the money is like the sky's the limit option, because it says that she's going to be wealthy, but it doesn't say how she's going to be wealthy. So she could have any number of super cool jobs. She could be a scientist or something like that. So I was excited that she picked the money, and it's funny because I love that her hand hovered over the baseball, and then she was like, no, I'm gonna pick this money instead. And as I showed you, there's actually other squishy stuff that she could have picked that has the same texture like the pencil. She just chose not to. She picked the money. Smart girl. All right, the last thing I want to show you is Alice's cake and her cake smash. So Alice cannot eat egg. She is egg intolerant. She cannot eat egg in anything. Like, it can't be baked in anything. She projectile vomits everywhere. Luckily, we took her to an allergist and she is not allergic, but she is severely intolerant. So we had to go to a gluten-free bakery to get her cake, but we also, just based on studies, I have chosen to keep Alice sugar-free until she's 2 years old. And so we had to ask them what sort of options we had that did not include added sugars. So we actually used natural sugars. This is one of the few times I'm actually letting her have added in natural sugars. So her cake is actually sweetened with powdered monk fruit and also with maple syrup. So still has sugars, but they're natural sugars instead of just granulated sugar. So I was a little concerned about the taste because I have a real sweet tooth. I am Southern. I like my cakes. And it was incredible. It was so good. So here is a clip of Alice trying her cake.
Happy birthday to you!
Yay!
Clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap.
As you can see, Alice is not really a big fan of the whole smashing. She thought it was very funny, but we decided to actually just cut her like a small piece so that she could really get a sense of what it tasted like. So here is her actually tasting chocolate cake without added sugar and without egg for the first time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up or consider subscribing. I would love to hear if you have a different birthday tradition and you're from a different culture, what is it that you do for a first birthday? I really want to know. I'm really curious because, you know, until I married my husband, I wasn't really aware that all these really cool things like the doljabi existed for my Korean American daughter. So what are some traditions that happen in your culture? Or if your child is Korean, how are you celebrating your child? I appreciate you watching and see you next time.